All right, what's going on, guys? So I checked out the new Apple Plus or Apple TV Plus movie, The Gorge, here recently. After seeing the hype that's been built for this movie, I had to check it out, and this movie has built up a lot of hype since it came out here recently. I'm not even sure when the official release date was, but I know it was within this past month, and it lived up to the hype in my opinion. I was kind of weary going into it because it was a direct to VOD movie. Usually when a movie goes straight to VOD, you get kind of worry about it, but Apple Plus usually delivers on their movies, so I wasn't too worried about it. But since it didn't get a movie or a theater release date that I know of, it was reason to be cautious of it going in. But in my opinion, it definitely lived up to the hype. I really enjoyed this movie. It was a blast. Kind of a refreshing movie coming this year because we haven't really had much this year, not much to get excited about. Hopefully later in the year we have some big releases coming that we can get excited about, but this was definitely a breath of fresh air for me anyway. It's the best movie I've seen this year, spoiler alert for the end of this video, but it's the best movie that I've seen so far this year. I really liked it. So it was directed by Scott Derrickson, which did The Black Phone here recently, which I really enjoyed. I liked this one better. I wasn't as high on The Black Phone as a lot of people were, but I did like it. And he's becoming a director that I'm really interested in, and I'm looking forward to what he does next. So this movie pretty much is about a guy who is an ex-Marine, and he is kind of just this agent for hire now that he's retired from the Marine Corps. And he gets hired to do this job of watching this gorge, and he gets introduced to this gorge by the previous agent that was watching over it for the past year. You watch over it for a year and then you're released. So it's kind of just this huge pit gorge that you have to watch, and there are monsters beneath this fog that is in the gorge that you learn about when you get there. And you pretty much have to make sure that these monsters don't come up. That's your only job for 1 year. They have mines along the cave or along the gorge walls. This movie is about this guy and the other watcher, which is on the opposite side of the gorge, which is a female. And it's kind of a love story between them while they're trying to protect this gorge, and then they get caught up in a bunch of stuff. I don't want to spoil too much because it is a very new movie. So it's pretty much a love story mixed with some action, mixed with some horror. And for the most part, I think it blended pretty well. I think out of the blend, the action side definitely came out better than the horror and the romance. The guy agent is played by Miles Teller, which I've seen in some stuff. He looked familiar when I seen him, but I couldn't really pick out what he's been in. But it looks like he's been in stuff like Fantastic Four and Surgeon, so that must be what I recognized him from. And then the female agent that is on the other side of the gorge is played by Anya Taylor-Joy, which I never heard of. I think she's a newer actor. She's been in some stuff like she was in The Witch, which was good. It looks like she was in Ferocia, the Mad Max movie, Dune Part 2, which I haven't yet to see, but she's been in some really popular stuff here recently. The Northman back in 2022. So not an actor that I was caught up with just because I haven't watched those movies, but she did very good in this movie as well. She's definitely one I'll keep my eye out for now that I've seen her. Sigourney Weaver actually is kind of a cameo, not really cameo, but she is a character in the story. She plays like this head of this agency that is protecting this gorge, because it's like this gorge has its own separate agency that not even the military or the government knows about. Like the president doesn't even know about this place. And it's cool to see her. Obviously, she's from the Alien movies, and that's cool to see her in it. She does good as her in her character. I mean, it's not a huge role, but from what you see of her, she did good. And like I said, it was just a refreshing kind of action/horror movie with a little bit of romance tied into it. The romance aspect, I think it worked for the most part. It kind of had this message of this underlying message of nothing can keep love apart. The gorge acting as like the separation, and they find a way to get to each other eventually. And that's kind of the underlying message of the whole romance thing, which wasn't my favorite, but the action and the horror definitely made up for it. So you get these creatures that are in the gorge. They're called Hollow Men, and I think that they are a really cool design, kind of a refreshing design that it's hard to get cool looking monster designs nowadays because you feel like everything's been done. But I think they did a pretty good job at designing these creatures, and they have a pretty cool backstory of like this gorge has been being watched for decades and decades, and the hollow men, they're kind of like zombies. If you get killed by them, you become one. So you have all these soldiers that you find out that were sent in back in the 40s, I think during World War II, and none of them returned. So when they get down there, you kind of see them revamped as these hollow men. They have like the uniforms on. I thought that was a really cool touch. The whole gorge as a production, like as a design, was a really cool set design. The lighting of this movie down in the gorge is something that catches you off guard. The lighting in this movie is amazing. I think as far as the cinematics go, you can't get really any better than this, especially when they're down in the gorge. And the CGI, which you can definitely tell some parts are CGI, but it's really good CGI, so nothing really to complain about there. Mostly whenever they're above the gorge and it's the two towers, you can tell a lot of that CGI, but like I said, it's really good CGI, so it makes up for it. And the ending delivers, without giving it away. I think a more hardcore ending would have really done this movie good. I think it's the type of movie that would have really landed with kind of more of a hardcore ending. But without spoiling it, that's pretty much what I think of the ending. It was still good. I mean, it's not a movie that I was disappointed when the ending came, and I wasn't like left wanting more after. I mean, I guess I was left wanting more after the movie ending, but I wasn't like really disappointed by the ending. I just think they could have wanted. I could definitely see them coming out with like a Blu-ray with a alternate ending that ends a little bit worse than what it did, and I could see me preferring that ending more, but we'll see. I don't know if there's anything like that yet. They haven't said anything, but we'll see when if a Blu-ray ever comes out. So overall, I really like The Gorge. I think it's definitely a movie you should at least start a free trial on Apple TV Plus if you don't have one yet, and check it out. I would say definitely check this out. I'm going to give it a 4 stars. Definitely a high rating for me with new movies. Not a lot of new movies get that high of a rating from me, so it was definitely a good movie in my opinion. If they ever come out with a physical release, it's definitely one I'll pick up and rewatch because I hate really paying for streaming subscriptions anymore. Check this one out. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. We can have a conversation about it. And let me know where it ranks among the 2025 movies for you guys so far. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one.